So now let's talk about the minor scales. We've talked about scale degrees, we've talked about intervals, at least the major and perfect intervals. We've talked about the major scale. Now let's move into the minor scale. And you can tell that we're building all of this like one brick on another in this nice solid foundation, musical foundation that we're trying to accomplish. Now, in order to understand the minor scale, you have to first understand the major scale, and hopefully you do by now. If you don't, you will want to stop the DVD now and go back to the section on major scales and make sure you understand that before moving on, because you could get confused easily if you don't have a good grasp of at least the major scale at this point. So, with the minor scale, there are several different minor scales, and we're going to focus our energy first off on the natural minor scale. So in order to make any scale minor, all you have to do is take the third degree and lower it a half step, take the sixth degree, lower it a half step, and take the seventh and lower it a half step. So let's take our G major scale. G major goes like this, right? Now I'm going to lower the third and the sixth and the seventh to get my G natural minor scale. So I start on G, 2, okay, that's the third. I need to lower it a half step, and in order to lower it a half step, all I do is move one fret down. So I'm going to have G, then A, and not B, but B flat, okay? And actually, it's going to be easier for me to play this B flat right here instead of down here, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I've got G, which is the first degree, A, which is the second, B flat, which is my flat third, 4, 5. Now instead of the major 6, I'm going to lower it a half step. Now it's going to be, okay, so let's do that. Okay, then for the seventh, I would normally have F sharp going up to G, right? But instead of F sharp, I'm going to have F, because I lowered a half step. So this was F sharp, and to lower anything a half step, I just go to the next fret down. So there's my seventh that I lowered. So now let's listen to the entire G natural minor scale, which is the G major with a flat 3, 6, and 7. Okay, and I'm only playing that in one octave. Now let's make that 2 octaves. Now what notes am I playing? G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G. Okay, and then it just repeats. Now that's the G natural minor. Now, the other minor that I want to talk about is the G harmonic minor. And it's a fascinating scale because it has a very interesting, some very interesting intervals in it, and you'll hear it as I play it. In order to make the G harmonic, or any minor scale harmonic minor, all you have to do is raise the seventh. So let's take our natural minor again. Remember, you have a flat 6, a flat 3, a flat 6, and a flat 7. That's the natural minor. Then if I want harmonic minor, I'd have a flat 3, a flat 6, and a raised 7th. So if we're still in the key of G, we'll start out with G, A, B flat, C, D, okay, then E flat is my 6. I would normally have F, which would be a flat 7, but in the harmonic I'm going to have a raised 7th, which goes to G. So let's hear it. So that's some very interesting intervals there. Okay, now let's play the G minor harmonic scale in 2 octaves. Okay, so now you understand how to take a major scale and make it minor, which would be a flat 3, a flat 6, and a flat 7. That gives you a natural minor. Then if you want the harmonic minor, you take the natural minor, you raise the 7th a half step. Now let's talk about the melodic minor, or what's often called the jazz minor. And it's an interesting scale. You see it written in different ways, but essentially a melodic minor scale is made up of the natural minor, except that when you are ascending in this scale, or if you're playing a solo and you're going up in pitch, you're going up the fretboard, you play the 6th and the 7th raised, and when you go back down, you lower the 6th and 7th. Now, let me explain what this sounds like, okay? If you're playing it in G, remember, I still have to have the flat 3 because that tells me that my scale is minor, but I'm going to raise the 6th and 7th going up, and I'm going to lower them going down. Now, here's what it sounds like. Now, a lot of times it'll just be written, the melodic minor will just be notated. It'll look just like a major scale, but it'll have a flat 3. And in that case, here's what it sounds like. That sounds pretty weird, doesn't it? Because it's basically a major scale with a flat 3. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of the major and the minor scale. But generally speaking, you want to play the melodic minor with the raised 6 and 7 going up and the lowered 6 and 7 going down. And let me play that in 2 octaves for you. And I'll just simply play them with the 6th and 7th, which will occur naturally. Instead of raising them and lowering them on the way up and down, I'll just play them where they're normally notated, which is raised. So here we go. So this is G melodic minor. Okay, now we know the major scales, we know the harmonic scales, the melodic and the natural minor. What I want to do now is to go back just briefly to intervals. Because if you remember when we discussed intervals, I talked about the major intervals and the perfect intervals, but I left out the minor intervals purposefully because I didn't want to discuss that until we had already discussed the minor scales. So in order to understand the minor intervals, you simply look at a minor scale. Let's take the G minor, the G natural minor. The second, a major second in the key of G, or the interval of a major second. And the key of G would be from G to A. That would still be a major second, even though it's a minor key. And the reason for that is because if you go from G to A, you'll notice that I'm skipping this fret right here. Well, this fret right here is a minor second. Okay? So there's your minor second. There's your major second. The difference between the two, the minor second is the smallest interval that you can have on the fretboard. The major second skips one fret. Now, remember, we did not talk about a minor third because we hadn't gotten to the minor thirds, we hadn't gotten to the minor scales yet. But here's your minor third. Or I could play it this way. Same note, right? So from G to B flat is a minor third. That's still my perfect fourth because it's the fourth in the key of G flat. I mean G minor. Now here's my fifth. Remember, that's our power chord. Still the same in the key of G minor. What about my sixth? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So from G all the way up to E flat, it's going to be a minor sixth. Sounds like that. Then the minor seventh. Count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So from G all the way up to F is going to be a minor seventh. And then from G to G, octave. Now, why is it important to know these minor intervals? We'll talk about that next.